You know, the theme of my presidential campaign is the idea that we have to disrupt the corruption in Washington. And it's been in full display this week. So I want to talk to you about two things that are so demonstrative of the insanity that comes out of Washington, D.C. And I think both of them give a real good picture of why we, the people, need to stop it. First of all, President Biden has okayed the Willow Project. Oh, ConocoPhillips, or big oil company, must be so excited right now because they are going to now be able to mount the most massive oil drilling project in Alaska. It will be 200 oil wells. It will be multiple pipelines. It will be airstrips. It will be all of the mining infrastructure. And you know what else it will do? It will put 280 metric tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. That will be so dangerous to people. It will be so dangerous to animals. It will be so dangerous to the earth itself. Some pro-science president, huh? Given the fact that so many scientists have said we absolutely must stop this. This is the time to be ramping down fossil fuel extraction, not ramping up fossil fuel extraction. This is, in the words of Al Gore, deeply reckless and deeply irresponsible. So people freaking out about it is actually reasonable. You know, everywhere I have gone, not only on campaigns, but just speaking out in the country, I'll often say, I'd like you to, if you are a young person who has ever said the following, or if you have ever heard a young person who has said the following, please raise your hand and keep it up. And that would be this. Well, under normal circumstances, I would think of having children, but given the state of the world and the state of the planet, I don't think it would be, I don't think I can do it. And I've asked people to do this all over the country. People raise their hands. I ask them to keep their hands up. Everybody looks around. And everywhere I have been, at least a quarter of people in the room have had their hands up. And I pointed out this is not normal. That young people who under normal circumstances would be thinking they might want to start families now, just look at all of these circumstances, including climate change, and go, it's too hopeless. I don't think I want to bring a child into this world. Well, we have to change that because that's not normal. And yet the corruption continues. This is what happens when the money of the oil companies, when all of the associated issues there take precedence over what we know to be responsible on a humanitarian level to people and to planet. And as long as we're talking about the corruption in Washington, D.C., and the need for the people to disrupt it, let's talk about what happened at that SVB bank and Signature Bank the other day in California. You know, in 1933, Franklin Roosevelt and the very wise men around him had passed banking laws, Glass-Steagall and so forth, to make sure that that kind of collapse, that kind of financial fiduciary irresponsibility would not be part of the way America operated any time in the future. But starting back, I think in the 90s, we repealed Glass-Steagall. Then we had the Dodd-Frank Act to make sure that we had stronger banking regulations, and then they started whittling away at that when the banks started lobbying. Mainly Republicans, but some Democrats weighed in, helped make it happen, and all of that deregulation is what caused the crash the other day at SVB and Signature Banks. Now, the depositors will be made whole, as they should be, but what shouldn't happen is that all those tech investors are able to come out of this with their investments still going on the way they had gone on before, even though many of those investors were the very ones who began the run on the banks. So I think that, you know, it's kind of like East Palestine. These disasters happen and people sort of wake up in Washington and they say, okay, we'll go back to some regulations. But that's where we are now. We're just disaster after disaster after disaster. You know, when's it going to stop? You've got the Willow Project, you've got East Palestine, you've got the SVB Bank. And I think more and more people are thinking maybe it's not so out there to suggest that the system itself is so riddled with corruption by these forces, whether it's the railroad companies or the banking industry or big oil, that we're just allowing people, animals, planet, to just be kind of collateral damage to this outsized corporate greed. I think we need a president who sees that. I think we need a president who will name it. And most importantly, a president who will do something about it. Let's get through this week. And let's stand up to the Willow Project. Let's make a lot of noise. But most importantly, let's disrupt this corrupt system. And let's do so before it's too late. Thanks.